This explainer. Look, if you have ever stared blankly at a textbook and suddenly found the texture of the wall paint incredibly fascinating just to avoid doing the work, well, you are in the right place. Today, we're going to completely shift your mindset. We're going to approach studying not as this tedious, mind-numbing chore, but as a highly trainable mental workout. We are unpacking exactly how you can rewire your brain to literally crave the learning process, pulling from some really fascinating insights on habit formation and cognitive endurance. By the end of our time today, you're going to have a totally new framework for hitting the books and climbing straight to the top of your class. Before we break down our specific habits, I want you to really consider this idea. Focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Honestly, this is the foundational mindset shift for everything we're talking about today, because it proves that concentration is built through reps, not just some raw, innate talent. You know, it's so easy to look at someone who effortlessly studies for hours and just assume they were born with a superhuman attention span. That is totally a myth. Attention and focus are highly adaptable. If your focus feels weak right now, it simply means it's untrained. It is not broken. So here is our training plan for today. We'll start with training your focus muscle, move right into the 25-minute focus rule, explore why discipline always beats motivation, dive into sleep, the ultimate study hack, and then wrap it all up with your daily study regimen. All right, let's jump right into section 1, training your focus muscle. Like we established, focus is absolutely not an innate talent. It's an active muscle that requires consistent training and conditioning. Think about hitting the actual gym. If you want to become the top student in your class, you have to put in the literal reps to strengthen your mental endurance over time. Imagine walking into a weight room for the very first time. You wouldn't immediately attempt to deadlift 400 pounds, right? No way. You'd hurt yourself, fail, and probably never want to go back. But crazy enough, that is exactly what we do with studying. We haven't opened a book in weeks, and then bam, the night before an exam, we demand that our brains endure a grueling 4-hour marathon study session. We really have to start seeing our attention span as something that requires progressive overload. You've got to build it slowly, deliberately, and consistently. Moving on to section 2, the 25-minute focus rule. Think of this as interval training for your brain. Step 1, you focus intensely for 25 minutes. Step 2, take a short break. Step 3, you repeat. One of the absolute biggest secrets to getting addicted to studying is simply starting small. Breaking your work into these short bursts completely prevents mental fatigue. When you tell yourself, hey, I'm only working for 25 minutes, your brain doesn't trigger that overwhelming sense of dread. It drastically lowers the barrier to entry. Tackling really complex subjects becomes significantly more manageable because you aren't staring down an entire mountain of work. You're just looking at the next 25 minutes. It's a quick sprint, a short rest, and then another sprint. Which brings us to section 3, discipline always beats motivation. Just look at the stark contrast here between waiting for motivation versus relying on discipline. So many of us fall into this trap, sitting around waiting to feel inspired to study. We wait for that perfect burst of energy, the ultimate lo-fi playlist, the perfect lighting. But listen, motivation is just a fleeting feeling. The most successful students out there, they do not rely on the temporary high of motivation. Instead, they lean on the unglamorous, daily grind of discipline. Discipline is taking action regardless of how you feel in that specific moment. And a massive part of building that discipline means aggressively removing distractions. Put the phone in another room, so your brain literally has no choice but to focus on the task in front of it. The absolute most crucial point here is this. Successful students stay consistent every single day through strict discipline. Showing up consistently, and I mean especially on the days you really want to skip your mental workout, is what actually builds that focus muscle we talked about earlier. It's what leads to better marks faster. If you only study on the days you feel like studying, your progress is going to be completely derailed the second you get a little tired or distracted. Discipline is that essential bridge connecting your goals to your actual academic accomplishments. Now for section 4, sleep, the ultimate study hack. Proper sleep delivers 3 major academic benefits that are simply non-negotiable if you want to be dangerously smart. It improves your memory, boosts your concentration, and increases your learning speed. Fun fact for you, while you sleep, your brain literally acts like a janitor, sweeping away toxic byproducts that build up while you're studying all day. I know academic culture loves to glorify the all-nighter as some sort of badge of honor, but scientifically, it is actually the worst thing you can do to your brain. Getting enough sleep isn't just about resting. It's a highly active phase of learning. While you snooze, your brain is actively working, organizing, and consolidating all the info you consumed during those 25-minute focus intervals. Without sleep, your brain simply drops the data. You have got to treat sleep as a core component of your study schedule, because recovery is when the actual mental growth happens. Finally, Section 5, your daily study regimen. So let's tie it all together. Here are the 3 core habits to increase productivity and score better marks faster. First, utilize the 25-minute focus rule to conquer procrastination and start small. Second, stop waiting for motivation. Build the discipline to put in the reps and remove distractions even when it's hard. And third, get enough proper sleep so your brain can actually consolidate that hard-earned knowledge. Now, to make this a true regimen, start tracking your progress. Maybe tally up your successful 25-minute intervals every single day. And then, this is key, reward yourself after a consistent week. By applying these specific strategies, you're actively conditioning your mind. You're no longer just a passive reader. You're officially an academic athlete in training. We have covered the science of academic endurance. You now know exactly how to trigger productivity, bypass the motivation trap, track your progress, and lock in your memory through proper recovery. So the only question left to ask yourself is this: will you train your focus muscle today? Don't wait for tomorrow, and please don't wait for the perfect mood. Set a timer for 25 minutes, pick up those mental weights, and start building that muscle right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.